Is Trump going to flood the crypto market with money? We need to pay attention to this going into the new week because we heard some news. We are going to deal with this. We're going to talk about it. But let's talk about the market first. Every week, every day, every month, and every year, the market has now turned green. Everything is green. And yes, there is still a lot of strong push to sell. There's still a lot of price movement that goes against the market. Yes, the market is getting better, but we're still not out of the woods. It's too early to party here, but this is how the daily looks. XLM is up around 3.1%. H-bar is up almost 1%, which isn't too strange. Different types of cryptocurrencies are beginning to make good gains. Besides a few big ones like M up 35.6%, there isn't much else going on right now. But once more, it's great to see that the market is starting to show a nice little bounce on this lower time frame structure. BTC is up about 1.8% and almost back to $110,000. Ethereum is still down about 1% and is now worth about $4,300. And then XRP, which cost about $2.77. The price of XRP hasn't changed much. On the whole, XRP price action will probably be pretty dull until the market opens and we see how it starts. As we'll talk about in this video, a lot of people are looking forward to a big opening for stocks. This is because the market has been doing so well in certain places. But for the most part, we're only interested in the shorter term structure of crypto and where we stand right now before the market opens. It's been a pretty quiet weekend so far. Yes, there has been some bad price movement. Even though there was a big drop in the market, there hasn't been a lot of instability lately, which I think is a good thing. But this is what the crypto market cap looks like as a whole. It's just above $3.78 trillion. This is an altcoin season rating of about 48 out of 100. And so there wasn't a big change. At this point, it's kind of in the middle. The market is also beginning to move up and down a little. There isn't anything too important going on yet, which is why I said we shouldn't get too excited just yet. There are some nice bounces all around, but they're not very deep. They're not very deep and they haven't turned over any big levels yet to show that this is the bottom and that we've reached the bottom. The most important thing to remember is that fear and greed are still around 39. Here you can see that we are still in that fearful stage. Just to be safe, you could say that most of the market doesn't know what's going to happen next right now. Something needs to happen on the charts before we can say, hey, that was the bottom. It's not clear what will happen next while we wait for this, which is why a lot of people are in that middle area. While the market says we're afraid, there is definitely a lot of fear in the world. And people who have been in these markets for a while, on the other hand, are more or less in the middle. I'm still very optimistic about September. In other words, it's now September 1st. This movie will be live on September 2nd, so the date is correct. But now that I think about it, I think September will be a great month for crypto. I think that this month will be great for crypto, even if the first half isn't as bullish. That's especially true with the Fed FOMC meeting coming up. Like, a lot of people think the rate won't go down, even more so now that the market isn't just crypto and stocks. I think there will be. I think the earth needs cuts right now. And I know that many people believe that the rates should be raised, but I'm not sure what will happen. I still think the rate will go down. The CME group also says there's a more than 80% chance of it happening. I'm also going that way. But let's take a quick look at Bitcoin, 109.5K. We're trying to break through that level that we failed to flip early yesterday morning, around 5:45 a.m. We tried to flip 110,000. That's not what we did. We actually sold off from that level, but on the lower period, we started to make some higher low structure, which is what we want to see anyway. We need to find some higher highs now. The number of Bitcoin trades is also up a lot. Also, the same goes for Ethereum. As you can see, this doesn't look good on the Ethereum chart because the lows and highs are lower than they should be for 7 days. Ethereum needs to do some work here. The number of trades is still up about 32% or more. Don't forget that trading traffic isn't always good. This is both good and negative trading volume added together. We still look pretty good when we compare it to the end of August, which is now August 19th. When we look at this thing on a monthly scale, that means we are still at some higher lows. We need to make some higher highs from some of these lower highs from the 24th high. For sure, I'm keeping an eye on that when it comes to Ethereum. Then there's XRP. I think XRP will stay pretty boring right now, especially since we're mostly interested in Bitcoin and Ethereum right now. The number of trades in XRP has gone up by about 85.56% in the last 24 hours. Once more, good and negative. When we only look at 1 month at a time, we see lower lows, which is not what we want to see when we look at the whole year. Another time, prices are moving in a pretty gloomy way. We're still in that bull flag shape, and I'm keeping an eye on things to see if we'll see that repeat of the December highs. If I see that on the chart, I'll let you know. Now that we're talking about charts, let's look at a few of them quickly. Then I'll talk about why we think President Trump might be able to boost the crypto markets this week. This is Bitcoin. Once more, Bitcoin, good move from the lows. The main level we want to see changed is this area between 115 and 125K. If you flip this, that will mean that this is the bottom so far. The prices are moving very well here. It would also be a very good sign if some of these lower highs were taken back in June. So, just breaking over 110,000 or some of the support levels that held on a daily basis near the end of August, okay? It would be a big deal for us to flip 110K by itself. As of now, it has been a barrier, even on the last daily light. It would be a big sign to flip this. After that, we might go back into this red zone to test a possible bigger rise. If that happens, the move I showed you on the chart will actually happen. So, the price action on Bitcoin right now is very good. We're still not out of the woods. It's important to keep an eye out for a big break to the upside, since many people likely thought this was the bottom for Bitcoin. Then what do you think? We have another sell-off chop. This move is kind of like the last one, where we don't know if the bottom is in or not. We're not sure if this is the bottom. This is where we need to start building a bullish pattern on the lower time frame.